Hi, my name is Meredith Andrews, and today I'm going to present on the food service module. I have chapters 9 and 11. So my first chapter is on service. This is chapter 9. Now I'm going to define delivery and service. Delivery is the transportation of prepared foods from production to place of service, while service involves assembling prepared menu items and distributing them to the consumer. Now I'll define the difference between delivery systems. We're going to talk about centralized versus decentralized systems. Centralized is where food is prepared in a central kitchen and delivered to a customer. This is found in long-term care, hospitals, fast food, banquet, and restaurants. The advantages of this style of service are that there's less staff and equipment, while the disadvantages would be long waits for services when you're serving large groups. A decentralized delivery system is where food is prepared in bulk and sent to smaller kitchens or galleys closer to the customer. The foods are reheated and assembled to be delivered to the customer. And then these are found in large hospitals, medical centers, schools, and hotels with room service. The advantages of this are that you can maintain temperature and the quality of food, while the disadvantages would be that it might become more expensive. So there's a few factors that affect the type of distribution systems chosen for a food service facility. The kind of food service system will depend on the number of people being served. So it could be a hospital, it could be table service, or fast food. And the size and physical layout also contributes. This you have to consider the long corridors in hospitals, or if you have a downtown building with several levels. And then the style of service also affects the distribution system. So delivery differs based on self-service, tray service, or portable service. And then you have to consider the skill level of your personnel and your staff. If you have new delivery systems or new equipment, you have to think about their ability to learn. And then what is the difference between mobile and portable equipment? Mobile equipment would be delivery trucks, so you have off-premise delivery, so if you delivered commissary to the school. And then these would be movable carts and trucks, so they have wheels, and this is for on-premise transport. It could be for bulk food for decentralized transport, and then it could also be transporting pre-plated food for centralized service, and then it could be open or closed. It also could be an insulated cart that keeps your food hot. It could also be a temperature control that helps regulate temperatures for that time temperature barrier that could cause microbial growth. And then you also have portable equipment, and these are items that can be carried, so that would be pots or pans or something with a clamp-on lid. Now I'm going to talk about some challenges that occur in the functional subsystem related to food safety. So you have the time-temperature relationship with microbial growth. So there's going to be different points in your functional subsystem that you could breach this time-temperature relationship and microbial growth could occur. So cooking, you have to make sure you cook the food to a certain temperature. Otherwise, growth could occur and food safety protocol could be breached. And then you're going to want to make sure during assembly that it is sanitary. The food service workers are wearing gloves, they are not cross-contaminating food, and that the food is staying at the temperature it needs to be for microbial growth to not occur. During transportation, there could be microbial growth that could occur or cross-contamination because of the food not being at the correct temperature. This could also occur at holding and delivery. So all of these time points are pieces of the functional subsystem that need to be maintained so that food safety will not be a problem. Now we're on to chapter 11. This is equipment and furnishing. So now we're going to look at non-corrosive metals. This is a widely used for construction and food service equipment because it's very permanent and it's resistant to stains and corrosions. It has a lack of reaction with food, it has a good appearance, and it's very easy to clean. And then it's also relatively inexpensive for food service operations to purchase. So in order to provide data for appraising upkeep costs and depreciations of equipment, you need to keep a record of maintenance and repair on each piece of equipment so that you can make sure you're maintaining your equipment. So now we're going to look at the characteristics of dining room furniture. All dining room furniture should be pleasing to the eye, durable, serviceable, and easy to maintain. If you're purchasing dinnerware, it needs to be based on your food service facility. So if you have a fast food, you're probably going to use disposable dinnerware, whereas if you have school food service, you're probably going to want to use a very durable dinnerware because it's going to be used a lot and washed a lot. Then when you're looking at tableware, you're going to want the tableware to be durable, serviceable, but also attractive. So you're going to probably use silver or stainless steel depending on the clientele being served. It also depends on the money available and then the type. So when you're choosing equipment, it's really important to consider the design and the function, your size and capacity of the facility, the material and construction, and then your initial and operating costs before choosing each piece of equipment. It needs to be, the equipment should be adaptable to multiple uses, so not just one function, sort of making a waste of space. It needs to be compact because it needs to fit into the kitchen, and it also should be an efficient utilization of space because space is limited in a food service facility and you don't want it to be overcrowded. It's also helpful if it decreases labor cost so that you can be a little more flexible with your budget. And then when you're purchasing equipment, it's important to collect all the data that you need on the needs and requirements of the food service operation. You want to check and compare price, cost of operation, and maintenance needed for each piece. You're going to perform a specifications sheet on each of the equipment pieces that you want. And this is going to look at the material, the construction, the size, the color, the finish, and the cost of the piece of equipment. This allows the person you're buying from to make sure the order is correct and all the parts are in line with what you want. You'll also want to look at the operator and make sure it's easily cleaned, easy to operate, and able to accomplish the work that needs to be. And then you're going to want to order from a reputable company. So if labor cost is high in a particular area, what type of equipment should be given strong consideration? I think modular equipment should be given a strong consideration because it can be used with centralized food service, and this is also going to decrease labor cost. So what is modular equipment? Modular is defined as constructed with standardized units or dimensions for flexibility and variety in use. Related to food equipment, it's when the units come and they're able to be joined together with any other units. So the advantage to this type of equipment is that it's flexible, self-venting, it's mobile, they are modular cooking units, it has rapid and efficient performance of many tasks, it's simple, it's cost effective, they have the use of technology, it's also sustainable, and then it's designed to be used anywhere. So what is a gauge? The gauge number is a measure of weight, which is pounds per square foot, which in turn determines the thickness of the steel. Examples of different gauges would be a chef's table would be between 12 and 16 gauges. A side of a refrigerator would be 16 gauges. And then most cookings would be between 18 and 20 gauges. So the higher the number gets, the thinner the metal gets. So now we're going to talk about the NSF and how it regulates food service equipment. So it's the National Sanitation Foundation, and it provides public health and safety risk management solutions, standard development, and product certification. So the NSF state service equipment should be fabricated to exclude vermin, dust, dirt, splash, or spillage as may be encountered under normal use, and shall be easily cleaned, maintained, and serviced. So they have a few criteria for equipment, and a few of them would be mounted equipment must be 6 to 8 inches off of the floor or away from other surfaces. Heavy stationary equipment, such as ranges and cabinets, can be mounted successfully on raised masonry, tile, or metal platforms, and they should be at least 2 inches high, sealed to the floor at all edges. And then there are standard containers and pans so that you can have more efficient use of space in the refrigerator, the pantry, dried goods, all of those places. You have sort of standard sizes and shapes to keep efficient. So the NSF also has criteria for their materials. So it needs to withstand normal wear, penetration of vermin, corrosive cleaning and sanitizing compounds, and other elements in the intended use environment. Surface materials in the food zone, toxic substances, odor, color, or taste to the food. Exposed surfaces should be smooth and easily cleanable. The non-food zone materials should be smooth and corrosion resistant or rendered corrosion resistant. Coatings should be non-cracking and non-chipping so that they don't get in your food. Solder in food zones should be formulated to be non-toxic and corrosion resistant under standard conditions. And then lead-based solder should not. So there's 4 different steps that the NSF takes to regulate their equipment. First, they have to audit the facility where the product was made. Then they do a physical evaluation where the equipment was made. And then they do testing and evaluation on the materials used to make the product, so to make sure that they meet their standards. And then the facility and product undergo an annual follow-up audit to maintain certification. So the Underwriters Laboratories is an organization primarily dedicated to product safety. The UL develops safety standards, and it deals with design, electrical, materials, components, and manufacturing. So here I'm going to define a few terms. We're going to look at HVAC. That's the heat, ventilation, and air conditioning, and it provides climate control in enclosed areas. The goal is thermal comfort and air quality. Then ventilation is the provision of fresh air. It controls the air temperature, and it also gets rid of air pollutants to maintain air quality in a food service facility. And then it keeps the odors from wafting into the dining room or overpowering the kitchen. Then the 18-8 metal is a chromium nickel stainless steel alloy. It's popularly used for food service equipment because of its 18% chromium, 8% nickel, and it doesn't contain any copper. So that helps retain the appearance and sanitary qualities for a long period of time. And then work design is the increase in production employee satisfaction. It improves the content of the job, provides a safe and healthy work environment. It designs a staff of fit people, provide an optimal work environment, and effective and efficient work methods. Material handling is the movement, protection, storage, and control of materials and products throughout manufacturing, warehousing, distribution, consumption, and disposal. Motion economy is a set of rules and suggestions to improve the manufacturing and reduce fatigue, unnecessary movements by the worker, which can lead to the reduction in the work-related trauma. So what criteria should be used for selecting flooring materials? You always want to make sure that it's impervious to moisture, grease, and food stains because of health codes and health violations. And you want to make sure it's non-slippery so that your staff doesn't slip and fall, cause workers' comp and injuries on the job. You want to always make sure it's resistant to scratches, acids, alkalis, and other cleaning solvents. And then it needs to be durable due to the heavy traffic of the food service staff in there all day, early morning until late at night. Okay, so now we're going to do a practical example. Suggest an appropriate flooring material for a nursing home. And so I chose a rough or abrasive slip resistant tile. There are pros and cons, but the cons would be it's difficult to clean and less hygienic, which isn't great because it's a nursing home kitchen and they're more susceptible to sickness and disease, but it is you are able to clean it, and since it's on the floor, come into contact, or it shouldn't come into contact with any of your food. But the pros would be that it's abrasive and slip resistant, so it's easier for employees to stand on for 8 hours, and also they're not going to slip on it. Your biggest problem would be your employees slipping on the floor and getting hurt during their shifts. And in a nursing home, when it gets busy during peak hours, when the residents would be eating, it would be easy to slip and fall on a floor that's not slip resistant. And here are my references.